I have a little exercise for you before starting this lesson. First, go to the App Store and find a game called Jetpack Joyride. This is a 2D side scroller, and what I would like you to do is just play it for a while and take special note of the background. See what the background is doing, how it moves in correlation to everything else on the scene. What this is called and what I'm going to be teaching you about here is how to make a parallax background. So you can see here that the background that we've got to do this project is a single image. We're actually going to have to break this up into multiple images in order to make it parallax. So the first thing I would like you to do is just export the vector art out of Adobe Illustrator. And we're going to export it to a PSD file. By exporting to a PSD, we'll be able to maintain these layers, and these layers are very important. So save it at the highest quality you can and click OK. I should probably make mention too, if you don't currently have access to Illustrator or Photoshop, I'm pretty sure Creative Cloud has a free sign-up period where you can try it out for a while. I highly recommend Creative Cloud just because the monthly fees are not too bad considering the amount of content you get. So by signing up to Creative Cloud, you have access to all of these applications. Okay, so now that we're in Adobe Photoshop, have a look over on the right hand side at the layers. This is great, you'll see that everything has its own layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is just crop it so that this background image is the only thing on the screen. I'll just zoom in a little bit so that we can see it properly. Now I'm just going to make some finer adjustments so that this is the same size as an iPad screen. So the images we're exporting will be the perfect size for our scene. Just adjust the background so it fits perfectly within the scene. Try not to skew or morph the image at all in this process. Okay, now we're just going to go through these layers and find out what everything does. Essentially, we want to end up with 3 layers at the end. A static layer at the back, a layer just with these trees in the middle, and also a layer with the grass at the front. So I'm just going to go through all 3 of these and export them out as separate images. Now all of this has been done for you by me, so you can just open up your source code folder and get these images directly, or if you started from the project in lesson 2, they will already be in your asset catalog. Okay, so now that we're back in Xcode, let's add in 3 layers to our game scene to represent these 3 layers. And at the moment I'm just going to make them of type skNode. And we'll just infer it by making it equal to a blank skNode. In our assign layers, I'm just going to go and add all 3 of these layers to the scene. Now in the setup layers function, I'm just going to add the first one, which will be the furthest back layer, to the middle of the screen and add it to the scene. Now build and run the application to make sure that this is working. Okay, so that's all good. Now I'm just going to add in a class which I use as the superclass for my layers. This will be included in the source code files. So you can see that this is a class called layer. It is a subclass of skNode. And the whole purpose of this class is to automate performing updates on nodes which are part of this layer. I've already set it up for parallax nodes so that you can set the speed of it and it'll automatically offset those nodes based on the delta time. If you are new to Swift, this may be a little confusing, but I definitely recommend having a read through it, and I think it'll make a lot more sense to you after looking at it for a little while and perhaps testing it out a bit. Now I'm just going to create a subclass of this layer, and what it will do is update each node that is a child of this node to move its position. So this is designed to work with two nodes, A node and B node. And these will be the nodes set as child nodes against this layer background. So it is going to move both of these nodes together, and if one of them goes fully off the screen, it will then move it to the other side of the screen and it will start again. And this is just going to be an endless loop of switching the two images around so that it looks like it's continuously moving. And you'll see what this looks like very soon. Okay, so if I come back to my layers, I'm just going to change these from skNodes to layer background. And when I add them to the scene, I also want to set a velocity. And this will be a CG point that will move in the X or Y direction depending on what I put in here. Now I'm just going to add in sprite nodes for my A and B node, and these will be the middle background image out of our three, and they'll both be that same image. So if I run this application now, there we go, they're there, it's all good, but they're not moving yet. That's because we haven't done anything in the game loop to tell these nodes that they are meant to move. So I'm just going to tell both of these layers to run their update method, to pass in the delta time. It's going to affect all nodes on that layer, and it's going to be parallax. Okay, so when I run that again, you'll now see that the trees move, and these will be two separate sprites that move side by side, and when one gets to the end, it'll go back to the start. Okay, now let's add in the one for the closest background images. And there you go, you have a nice parallax effect. It looks really good and neat and really portrays the feeling of movement. So that's 3 levels of parallax, but there is going to be a 4th as well when we add in the game scene. So this is going to be a tile map of the entire landscape, and your player is going to move through this. So let's make a start on the tile mapping.